Hello, this is Cindy Herb, the Joyful Survivor. I try to give everybody on my site some alternative information on spirituality healing. I'm here today with Charles Crooks, who happens to be a shaman here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thank you, Charles, for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
I want to talk to you about intuition. What is intuition? Can you define intuition?
Oh, gee, that's, yeah, everybody's got it. How often have you had those epiphanies or those mini prophecies, or when you get a nature or knowing of something or somebody? How often have you found that when you got those little yellow or red flags in your mind, that if you decided not to go forward, it was very, very important not to do so. This is well documented throughout all of history and throughout all the time about the ability for the individual to perceive and become aware of things as they actually are and not what they are perceived to be.
So you're saying that all of us have the ability to be intuitive.
Oh, yeah.
But how can you increase it? Because, like, you're obviously more intuitive than a lot of people.
Wait a minute. No. It doesn't work that way, okay? Imagine if you have your normal level consciousness on channel 9. Your intuitive side of yourself will be on channel 10. They're both there all the time. They're both turned on. It's a matter of giving attention to it. It's kind of like the third eye issue. You got your regular eyes on channel 12, okay, or channel 11, depending what area you're in. And that's what you're doing all the time. And channel 13, your next channel up, is your third eye. They're turned on all the time. The key is giving attention to it. And that's the only difference between one and another as regards those abilities.
Because some people, like I agree with you that I know that people are intuitive. Mm-hmm. And I always look at intuition as like spirit speaking to us. Mm. But the question is it a constructive force? Some people say intuition is a destructive force. Can you?
Yeah, you have to be able to figure out. One of the keys on determining that is, one, ask the question. What does it serve? What is the nature? What is the cost? Why is this information being presented? Especially when it has to do, let's say you get some intuition or some thought akin to, well, that person's going to try and take you down, or you need to take them out, something along that line. That's a very low thing, and that is not constructive in nature. So you basically set your own standard as what you'll pay attention to. That determines on the type of information you'll attune to. For example, since your tuner is already there, it's already connected to that collective consciousness. So depending on where you're drawn to will determine the type of information that will be available to you that you'll be able to receive. And so if you're at the higher levels in regards to, and I'm using higher in quotes here, if you're at the higher levels or the more constructive levels, then that's what you're going to be receiving. Information along those lines.
So spirit is not like we're physical beings, but we're spiritual beings first, correct?
Yeah.
So is your intuition tied to that spirit that is within you? That's the spirit speaking.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's fair.
But again, you have to test the information you're getting.
It's important to test it, especially to know the nature of it, because that's really the key. When you're just beginning with this stuff, you have to experiment, and there's going to be a lot of low-level individuals that will try to imitate other individuals and try to influence you to go in certain directions, and that's really quite common.
So again, to increase your intuition, can you increase somebody's intuition?
90% of that is getting them to do doing little exercises, pay attention to it.
So that's how you increase it, is to pay attention to it.
Yeah, that what you give attention to becomes.
And exercise it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So I want to know, is there a difference between being intuitive and being psychic?
Well, that's an interesting question. I never really put the two together in that context, because I haven't really thought about it, because it's really never really come across the table. So being psychic utilizes the same tools, the same method that using intuition is. One is a passive event where you are continually receiving stuff on the intuitive side. However, being a psychic is an active process where you're actually going out and finding stuff or actually, determining the nature of something. So one is passive, one is active. So even though they use the same tools, it's a method that is brought forward.
Wow. Can intuition be the result of some past life remembrance? How can you tell the difference between what I'm feeling is something from a past life and then it's a message from spirit? Is there a difference?
Yeah, there's a big difference, yeah.
What is it?
Generally, the past life memories will be with you ever since you're born.
And that's different than just intuition.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of intuition?
Or however, let's say you're going to Europe for the first time in your life, and next thing you know, you can drive around the place like the back end of your, like your backyard, and you know where everything is. Patton did that.
Right.
And because he'd been there before. That's not intuition, that's knowing.
But my question is, what's the purpose of intuition? Is it to warn you? Is it to help you in a more constructive manner? What is the purpose of intuition?
I think you answered him quite well. It's purpose for warning, to give you assistance, to move you in a constructive path.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because, like when I was a child, as you know, I was raped. And at the time that I was following this guy that eventually raped me, there were my intuition was like going off like crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was told not to go, but I wasn't listening to it because people are not normally taught to increase their intuition.
Well, keep in mind, during that time of society, especially in the South, anything that wasn't, from the pulpit was bad news.
So, but you think now people are using their intuition more and more because they understand it, that it's really a constructive thing and spirit is guiding them, correct?
Their inner self, their larger self, is a good way to put it, is keeping them heads up, giving them a heads up as to what's going on. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Charles, for talking to us about intuition today. You helped clear some things up for me. If you want to find where Charles is, he's got two websites. One of them is shamanic-enterprises.com, and the other one, which is absolutely my favorite because of the name, is
healerofheartsandminds.com.
Again, I want to thank you, Charles, for being with us.
You're quite welcome. Glad to be here.
Bye-bye, everyone.